欢迎收看今天的汉天新闻，我是张潇。首先来看美国国内消息。目前，在美国连续经历了几起枪击案之后，全国都处于高度的戒备状态之中。在刚刚过去的周末，多州警局都发现了蠢蠢欲动的潜在的枪击威胁，所幸在恶性事件的萌芽阶段就将其成功阻断。
An arsenal of assault rifles and large knives, a stockpile of ammunition, and even a gas mask. Police near Youngstown, Ohio, finding all this inside the home of James Reardon, a 20-year-old self-described white nationalist who they say made a threatening post about a mass shooting at a nearby Jewish community center. Reardon was on the radar of authorities after making this post on Instagram, showing a man firing off a gun. A local Jewish leader saying it had a disturbing caption. Police identified the Youngstown Jewish family community shooter as a local white nationalist.
That kicked off a very intense investigation. He was charged initially right now with telephone communication harassment and aggravated menacing.
Police say Reardon attended the deadly 2017 rally in Charlottesville, as seen in this interview with National Geographic.
I want a homeland for white people, and I think every race should have a homeland for their own race.
His arrest, the latest in a string of mass shooting threats.
Do you have any weapons we need to know about?
In Florida, this police body camera footage shows the arrest of Tristan Scott Wiggs outside a Daytona Beach grocery store.
We're going to set your bond at no bond for the protection of the public, given the threat to kill at least 100 people.
The 25-year-old detained after police say his ex-girlfriend alerted them to a series of text messages detailing plans to commit mass shootings, writing chilling words like, "I want to open fire on a large crowd of people." And in Connecticut, police arresting 22-year-old Brandon Wagshaw last week after receiving a tip that he tried to buy a large-capacity rifle magazine out of state. He's been charged with illegal possession of large-capacity magazines. Investigators also discovering numerous weapons, including a handgun and rifle ammunition, body armor, and technical gear inside his home.
There was some historical Facebook post that indicated his interest in mass murder. That certainly raised an eyebrow. So the investigators worked very quickly and diligently.
周日，美国总统川普就目前的经济形势回答了记者的提问。他乐观地表示，没有看到美国经济衰退的迹象。目前，美国企业显示出的销售数字比任何经济学家的评论都要好，并且还从经济角度分析了为什么说美国的经济不但不会有衰退，而且还会十分强劲的原因。
We are doing better than any country or even area anywhere in the world.
President Trump insisting the American economy is doing great, despite a week of whiplash on Wall Street, spiking fears that a recession may be right around the corner.
I don't think we're having a recession. We're doing tremendously well. Our consumers are rich. I gave a tremendous tax cut, and they're loaded up with money.
His top economic advisors echoing the president, downplaying fears of a slowdown.
I sure don't see a recession. We had some blockbuster retail sales consumer numbers towards the back end of last week, really blockbuster numbers.
In this case, the flat curve is actually the result of a very strong Trump economy.
Even making bold claims about how tariffs are affecting Americans.
This president has the backs of farmers. The tariffs are hurting China. China's bearing the entire burden of the tariffs.
That's not
in terms of consumer. Hang on.
What a lot of experts say.
This is what this expert says.
But economists and some farmers disagree.
This one's self-inflicted by our president, and we definitely agreed to it at the beginning, but it doesn't appear that there's a plan B.
The stakes could not be higher for the president, who says the economy should give him a second term.
There's some basic facts here that you can't escape, and one of them is that American farmers are getting killed.
I'm afraid that this president is driving the global economy and our economy into recession.
The president also seeming to backtrack on earlier support for some tighter gun restrictions, again emphasizing the need to focus on mental health, despite a new poll finding overwhelming support for tougher gun legislation.
People don't realize we have very strong background checks right now. You go in to buy a gun, you have to sign up. There are a lot of background checks that have been approved over the years.
President Trump also confirming his interest in purchasing Greenland from Denmark.
Essentially, it's a large real estate deal. A lot of things could be done.
But the Danish prime minister quashing any future deal as, quote, absurd.
日前，美国富商爱波斯坦的尸检报告被公开。 他被传于8月10日在监狱牢房内自杀身亡，但之后各种阴谋论甚嚣尘上，许多疑问始终无法得到答复。但目前的报告显示，爱波斯坦死于上吊自杀，但更多细节还需要调查之后才能得到解答。
Jeffrey Epstein's cause of death? Suicide by hanging. That's according to autopsy results released Friday by the New York Medical Examiner's Office. The report comes nearly a week after Epstein was found dead in his Manhattan jail cell. The multimillionaire hedge fund manager was in jail awaiting trial on federal charges. Prosecutors accused Epstein of operating a sex trafficking ring involving dozens of underage girls. He had pleaded not guilty to the charges. Investigators are still piecing together what led to his death. Initial reports on the autopsy reveal investigators were looking into broken bones in Epstein's neck, injuries forensic experts say could happen when a person hangs himself or dies by strangulation. Sources familiar with prison procedures say 2 guards assigned to monitor Epstein were supposed to check on him every half hour, but on the night of his suicide, initial reports indicate they failed to check on him for several hours. Officials said investigators are still trying to pin down what they were doing during the gap. Both the FBI and the Justice Department's Inspector General are investigating the circumstances surrounding Epstein's death. I'm Andy Rose reporting.
以色列内政部16日决定，出于人道主义考虑，批准美国民主党籍女众议员拉希达·塔利布前往约旦河西岸探亲。然而，塔利布晚些时候发表声明，指认以色列设置带有羞辱意味的压迫性条件。他将不会前往约旦河西岸。
President Donald Trump's political fight against the Democrats has hit Israel.
They are very anti-Jewish and they're very anti-Israel.
Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, a frequent target of Trump, refused to visit the country under Israeli restrictions. The Democrat, a Muslim of Palestinian origin, was granted access for humanitarian reasons to visit her family in the West Bank, including her 90-year-old grandmother. Then Tlaib did an about-face. Visiting my grandmother under these oppressive conditions meant to humiliate me would break my grandmother's heart, she said in a statement. Silencing me with the treatment to make me feel less than is not what she wants from me. It would kill a piece of me that always stands up against racism and injustice. Tlaib's family in the West Bank backed her decision.
We are against the conditional visit of Rashida to Palestine. Rashida has the right to visit Palestine as a Palestinian, regardless of being a congresswoman, as any citizen with a U.S. passport has the right to come and visit their family without any conditions or pressure.
Israel's interior minister, who made the final decision on allowing entry, attacked Tlaib on Twitter. I approved her request as a gesture of goodwill on a humanitarian basis, but it was just a provocative request aimed at bashing the state of Israel. Apparently, her hate for Israel overcomes her love for her grandmother. One day earlier, Israel had banned Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar from visiting because of their support for a boycott of Israel, known as BDS. That, despite a promise last month that the two would be allowed to enter because of Israel's respect for the U.S. Congress. A tweet by President Donald Trump in which he said Israel would show great weakness by letting them in gave Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu little room to maneuver.
There's one thing we're not willing to do under the law. We are not willing to accept into Israel people who call for a boycott of Israel and actually work to delegitimize the Jewish state.
Democrats and some Republicans blasted the decision, including pro-Israel Democrat Steny Hoyer, who called it outrageous. In Israel, opposition lawmaker Yair Lapid said on Twitter, "These are 2 radical members of Congress, but the decision to bar their entry goes against our national interest." As Netanyahu knows well, this is a serious mistake which strengthens the BDS movement and further harms our relations with the Democratic Party. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has never publicly disagreed with President Donald Trump, and he wasn't about to start now, especially as he faces a very difficult re-election campaign over the course of the next month, and a big part of his campaign strategy is Donald Trump. Oren Lieberman, CNN, Jerusalem.
当地时间8月16日，孟加拉国首都达卡市北郊的米尔布尔发生火灾，大约2000间贫民窟棚屋被夷为平地。截至18日，这场大火已经造成4人受伤，数千棚屋被毁，上万人无家可归。 据报道，贫民窟的大多数居民都是附近的低薪工人，火灾对他们的生活可能造成毁灭性的影响。
Residents watched from a distance as giant flames engulfed their homes Friday night, silhouetted by fierce pillars of smoke that swept through the Cholontika slum in Bangladesh's capital city of Dhaka. 2,000 huts were destroyed in the fire, the local police inspector told CNN, leaving at least 10,000 people homeless in just a matter of hours.
Everyone started running out. Some people were bathing. They ran out wet. Some left all their belongings and ran to safety. It was chaos. So I lived here for more than 30 years and I have lost everything. I don't know where I will go and live. I lost everything and now I am homeless and I don't know what to do.
Officials say the majority of the Cholontika residents earn low wages from working in garment factories nearby, and many were out celebrating the Muslim festival of Eid when the fire broke out. Now, Bangladesh's State Minister for Disaster Management and Relief announced on Sunday that around 80% of the slum was either completely or partially demolished by the fire. No one died, but it caused structural damage and injured 4 people who were then hospitalized, according to the Director of Fire Services. The Fire Services Director said the initial flames broke out about 7:14 p.m. local time, lasting a little more than 4 hours before they were put out. Residents dug through what's left of their belongings, hoping to salvage anything they could.
I was born here. I lived here with my father and mother. I grew up here. My whole family used to live here in this slum, and now we will be separated. Our family had 12 rooms together. It was such a nice place to live, and now we will never find a place like this to stay together.
What caused the fire remains unknown, but CNN was told a committee has been set up to try and investigate and report its findings back within 15 days. The mayor of Dhaka's North City Corporation, Atiqul Islam, said all necessary assistance for those impacted will continue until they are rehabilitated, according to state media. He added that the country's prime minister was promising permanent dwellings for all those left homeless. But until then, the residents here are left to sift through the ashes of what they once called home. Paula Newton, CNN.
自从2018年美方单方面退出伊核协议以来，两国的关系一直保持僵持不下，特别是围绕伊朗试射导弹的事情，双方争执不断。日前，五角大楼方面称，他们有理由相信伊朗方面会在未来几天内进行导弹试射。
Tonight, new classified imagery shows Iran is preparing to launch a rocket as soon as next week that the Iranians claim could put a peaceful satellite into orbit, according to U.S. officials. But it's a program with the same technology needed for an intercontinental ballistic missile, the type that someday could strike the U.S. Commercial images of this launch site obtained by CNN show launch-related vehicles are already on site.
Iran. Trouble. Nothing but trouble.
Several U.S. defense and intelligence officials say Iran is improving range and accuracy of all its missiles. And so is North Korea. Kim Jong-un has conducted 6 short-range missile launches since May, several showing increased range. America's adversaries see a president now conciliatory at random times.
Our allies take advantage of us far greater than our enemies.
However, America's military adversaries are on the rise and bolder.
They believe that they can go ahead and produce weapons systems and test weapons with impunity.
President Trump compliments Kim.
I got a very beautiful letter from Kim Jong-un.
But U.S. intelligence experts tell CNN that Pyongyang continues improving all of its missiles and is trying to make new nuclear fuel supplies. Vladimir Putin is working on new weapons to keep the U.S. out of Europe, including a nuclear-powered missile that apparently recently exploded, releasing radioactive material. China has massive cyber espionage efforts to steal American military technology.
The reason we see all of these things happening in all of these different countries is because all of these rivals of the United States see no real pushback from the Trump administration.
The incoming chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the president's personal military advisor, has a dire warning.
China went to school on us. They watched us very closely in the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War. They watched our capabilities. They want to have the capability to defeat us by mid-century.
休息一下，马上回来。